Hi friends, welcome to John's Briefs here at Active Self-Protection Extra. Here today again with James Reeves from TFB TV and a practicing attorney in the state of Louisiana and the on-call go-to attorney for a major self-defense legal protection program. And I want to talk to him today about his thoughts on how the prosecutor in the Arbery case handled the racial angle of the Ahmaud Arbery murder.
Now more than ever, you need trusted coverage to help you win the fight after the fight. The company I trust and recommend is Firearms Legal Protection. They offer discounts on all their plans at the link in the description. I recommend the premium plan.
I'm going to say the prosecutor's name one time, and then we're just going to refer to her as her. Her name is Linda Dunikoski. I'm going to forget that if I try to say it 100 more times. Had a very interesting approach here because I think, James, you'd agree with me that the Arbery case was so significant because of the racial tensions in America.
Sure.
And because of the fact that we had two white dudes in rural Georgia shoot a young black man. And of course, that tells a lot of stories to different people from different backgrounds. And we've had a lot of time of this discussion of racial justice and Black Lives Matter and all those things come from George Floyd and all that. So this took on a big thing. But the prosecutor literally only mentioned race in this trial one time. Do you remember when she did, by the way?
No, I don't. In fact, I am surprised to even know that she mentioned it because I thought it went unmentioned.
So the only time she mentioned race in any capacity was in her closing argument. She mentioned one time that Ahmaud Arbery was a young black man.
I see.
Literally the only time. So this is what he said, right? So again, we haven't had this discussion. We haven't primed this behind the camera. That the prosecutor chose to make race a non-issue, in this case completely.
Yeah, and I think it was wise.
And whereas the nation, this case was seen as absolutely a referendum on race. Why do you think the prosecutor made that choice?
I think
we're not going to get to ask her. She's not going to, no comment, right?
Yeah,
She's
sure.
an agent of the state. Nope, not going to talk about it.
I mean, me, strategically, if I'm talking to a jury, which I believe, I think the makeup...
11 white people,
11 white and one black. Just like, and I think Rittenhouse was the exact same.
It was
I think
the same
it was
jury,
11 white and one black. I'm not sure how good of an idea it is to point out that somebody is different. You want to humanize. If you're the prosecution and there's somebody who's deceased, you want to humanize them. You want
the jury to identify with
sympathize.
the victim. Yeah,
and there, in many cases, you can't even say, in many states, in many jurisdictions, you can't even say, put yourself in the shoes of such and such. That'll result in a mistrial. If you say, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to evoke sympathy without going so far to say, put yourself in his shoes.
Back up. I think that's the first time I've ever heard that phrase.
Oh, yeah.
If I say, put yourself in the shoes of this person, that'll evoke a mistrial? Depending
on the jurisdiction. I mean, in Louisiana, certainly, in civil cases and in criminal cases, if you say, put yourself in the shoes of such and such, the victim. Again, it depends on the jurisdiction.
But as an attorney, you want them to.
Right.
And so you got to do that in sneaky ways.
But it's such a powerful way of doing it where you say, picture this. You are this person, and this happens to you. I mean, in some cases, or in some states, for all I know, in criminal jurisdictions, in criminal court, maybe that's completely permissible. I know in Louisiana, you have to be very careful if you're trying to make any sort of statement where you're asking the jury to kind of step into the shoes of one of the parties, right? Depending on the circumstances. But
so you got to watch that.
Right. So the point is, sometimes you can't flat out say, like, imagine you are this person. Right. It's such a powerful reminder. So how you have to do that is you want to get everyone in the jury to sympathize with the person, the victim, the deceased, the party, the defendant, the plaintiff, whatever the case may be. You want to get them to sympathize. And how you do that is by making them feel as if they were that person, putting them in the shoes of that person, or painting a picture of the scenario. I don't think the best way to do that is by pointing out the differences. I think you emphasize the similarities.
What do you think of the idea? So I do see after the convictions, a lot of people say, oh, this is, just woke leftism or whatever. I mean, I guess my social media kind of tends to skew right. I'm a wackadoodle libertarian, but a lot of my friends are right. Yeah. But that they say, oh, this is about the jurors knowing that and them wanting to, give a message. But these are 11 white, and 1 black, rural Southerners, rural Georgians.
Yeah.
And so the prosecutor said, no, we're not going to make this about race one bit. Why do you think there's that disparity?
No, you mean like the public perception?
Yeah.
And I think right now you have obviously a lot of racial tension in the country. Now things, it seems like, have calmed down a little bit.
We're starting, hopefully, please, Lord.
Right. Things have been, there's been a little bit more peace in the valley than there was previously. And I think it's almost like, and I hate to bring this up, but anytime you have a school shooting, right? Tensions are high, and everybody, it's like, oh my God, this kid's at school, he's a school shooter. Yeah, like, we need to ban assault. Right? What you want to do is you want to see this pattern. We as human beings tend to establish patterns. We want to see patterns. We want to see rhyme and reason in things. And so I think, that's essentially what happened here, is that you've got a lot of racial tension in the country, and everybody wants to make every issue about race. Good or bad, everybody wants to make every issue about race, and I think that it's also great for the media, right? Make it about race. It's a nice juicy headline. It's going to get people riled up. So, for me, I think that, again, the prosecutor handled that very. I mean, I didn't even think about the fact that she said young black male. I mean,
in her closing argument, that one little kind of just throwaway thing, and that's it.
Yep, that's it. And I think that was a smart strategic decision, which obviously worked.
Well, and because I think if she made it all about the race angle, now wait a minute, which side of this debate am I on, and who do I empathize with in the jury's mind? Number two, I think if she keeps pointing out how this man is different than you got 11 white jurors, and you're saying, well, he's a black man. Well, I'm not a black man. And he's a young man, and I'm not a young man. I'm an old fat white guy or whatever. Now I'm different. I'm not him. I'm not him. I'm not him. Nope, this man, this person.
And making it about race would invite that scrutiny. Like you said, leftist wokeism, there were a lot of people talking about that. However, she didn't play that card.
She didn't. She just went completely away from
it. Right, and that, had she done that, or had that been a theme, or something that, an undercurrent of the case that she would have called attention to, then perhaps she would have invited scrutiny of her decisions, and people would have said, wokeism, you were trying to play to white guilt, but she didn't do that, and therefore, I think that she successfully avoided that criticism.
Well, guys, so here's an interesting thing. I think a lesson from the Arbery case, from his murder, and again, it was a murder. The people who killed him were convicted of murder.
Yes.
Ahmaud Arbery's murder trial, the trial of the murderers, tells us and reminds us that there's a big difference between public perception and what actually happens in a court of law. And in a court of justice. And so don't expect, I will tell you this, another big one for me, the reports that you read in the mainstream news media, I'd be cautious on those, because they sure painted a picture that those who were watching the trial, and I think the Rittenhouse trial was the same way, right? You read a particular news outlet's update of this is what happened this day, and you're like, what are you talking about? I watched it. This is not remotely what happened that day. And so watch the trial, not the news.
Their widget is clicks. That is their product. That is what they make, is clicks, views. And one way to get it is using something inflammatory like race.
It's the truth. So, guys, don't believe everything you read there. This verdict was not about race. This verdict was about the facts of the case, that 3 men decided to pursue a man that they did not have reasonable belief. They did not have, the jury decided, reasonable belief to chase, and murdered him. And let's be better, good, sane, sober, moral, prudent people, shall we? James, dude, always love talking to you, man.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Guys, thanks for watching.